Hey, everybody, welcome. We are going to have a meeting today, myself, Larry Bailey with Awesome Technologies, Inc., along with Naveed Panjwani, who owns the product called E-Compensate. And I wanted to bring you on, Naveed, to have you talk about it. Are you ready?
I am excited.
I
Yeah.
know it's really cool. So one of the things that a lot of folks don't understand about Awesome Technologies is that it goes beyond just mortgage. So just to kind of give a quick background story of Awesome Technologies Inc. started in 2004, and one of the things that it was founded on was really helping folks in the healthcare technology sector. So coincidentally, ATI and myself, we both got into the mortgage technology around 2011. I started in banking in 1987 and mortgage banking in 93. And one of the things that we both share in this common thread is moving into the technology side in 2011. And the product that we're going to talk about today specifically is E-Compensate. Now, E-Compensate was really built to help folks work through their compensation payroll period time. Naveed, what's like the biggest thing that you've seen when you first talked to somebody about considering E-Compensate for their payroll? What are some of the things you guys talk about?
We talk about what their current method is, and 9 out of 10 times it's something that's very manual, very tedious, and you could probably save a big load of time just by hopping onto eCompensate.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really focused in on, because there's a lot going on in ATI in terms of automation, but the products. So Naveed, you take care of a couple of very specific products, E-Compensate being one of them. And the slide really speaks to a lot of the things that it does out of the box. Don't need any configuration. One is the efficiency. And I know that most folks that you talk to are probably working on what, spreadsheets or email? Like what are people doing for managing compensation do you usually find?
Yeah, you're gonna see all sorts of crazy stuff, man. So we have spreadsheets. We've had like a 200 email thread long email chain where they're going back and forth with loan officers just to track compensation, and the list just gets crazier and crazier.
I imagine folks that are using Teams or Google, they probably use chat also, and I can see that being a thing in 2024 when we're shooting this recording. The reality is, though, eCompensate kind of brings in a lot of this information into one spot. One of the other products that we're not going to get into detail today, but ATI has is called Switch. And Switch is this endpoint to endpoint piece of software that really takes information from multiple sources and brings it into one place so that you can do what you want the data to do. And that's what's kind of behind the engine behind this, right? The Switch brings in data from all kinds of places. So where can you actually bring in data to help you with compensation?
You can do Excel spreadsheets, you can do your LOS system, and all the major ones we're already pretty well familiar and integrated with.
So
You
like
can do,
Encompass, you're
yeah.
doing Byte, you're doing Meridian Link, previously known as Lending QB. Any others out there?
The general rule of thumb is if it either has a API or some sort of database, we can bring the data in.
Awesome. Okay. So you get the information in, and obviously a lot of these, a lot of the clients that are using this are mid-size. Maybe there are 100 or so employees, maybe larger. But is there any real scale? Like, that can this handle a company of thousands?
Yeah, fairly easily.
Awesome. So we're going to get into we're going to kind of put you to your test. Okay. We're going to have you show us how it works because that's really what people want to care about. In terms of compliance, the other thing that I want to bring up, I know there's a lot. This happened to me personally at a previous company that was using SharePoint to store their payroll. And it's just completely dicey because you need to make sure you know who has access to which information. So how does eCompensate help keep your HR records compliant and safe, and how does this thing work on that
Yeah,
end?
yeah. No, that's a excellent question, and we're gonna go ahead and get into that demo, and I'll give you perfectly live example of how the entire process works.
Awesome, awesome. And in terms of where this software sits, like is this on a TI hardware? Is this in the cloud somewhere? Can I self-host if I'm using this as a client? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so look, when a client comes to us, we give them the choice, right? So if they want to host it, we will do all the setup for them. We all we need is just, hey, where do you want to host it? We'll set it up for you. And if you don't want to host it, we can still get you your own private server, and it would still be your server, and that's where we would host it.
Okay, and ATI actually supports clients that do that. We don't just basically say, "Here's your product, good luck." It's a collaborative experience where even if the clients don't have their own machines, or even if they don't have their own virtual machines, ATI can either can help spin up a machine, a virtual machine, and still help clients support that. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, you wet my whistle enough. I know other people are probably watching this going, okay, yeah, show me the money. Literally show me how the money works. You mind go ahead? I'll stop sharing and then you can go ahead and share the screen.
Yeah,
Show us it. And
absolutely.
while Naveed's doing this, I do want to bring up the way that this typically works is if you are interested, just reach out directly to Naveed at ATI and we can set up a demo for you personally and show you how that works. So, it's easy enough for that. So on screen right now, when somebody logs in, is this what you log into? What are we seeing?
So, as soon as you log in, you get this nice, elegant dashboard that tells you a lot of information at one glance, right? So, just for example, at the top here, you have all of your payroll periods, so you can quickly filter through different payrolls and see all the data. And at the bottom here, you're going to get your key performance metrics. So it tells you your total loan volume, your commissions for this payroll period, your commission amount, bonuses, draws, and just the list goes on and on. You can customize it. You can add more if you want per request. And then if I scroll down here just a little bit more, I can actually get employee level data as well, right? So as an executive, I can know exactly how much commissions I'm paying to each individual employee without having to dive too far deep into the system.
Gotcha. So when I first log in, like literally today's the 15th of the month. So I know some companies are paying probably made payroll past this past Friday. Today's it's a federal holiday for Martin Luther King Day. So lots of people got paid on the 12th. And I know that there were people jumping through literal hoops to try to get payroll done for commissions, like especially for draws on files that are supposed to close this month or maybe they closed in between the 1st and the 10th, and now they have to get paid. So doing all of that stuff right here, you get a dashboard and you get to have the individual people. So if if I'm Alex's manager, or if I'm in HR, payroll, et cetera, and Alex came to me and had a question, you just go to the dashboard, click on Alex, and then boom, you get in all the information that's specific to Alex.
Yep, it's really that simple.
Awesome. Okay. Looks good. What
All
else?
right. So here on the left side is going to be your menu screen. So as you can see, you have your home page. You have your employee tab, your compensation, your approved compensation and reports. We'll go one by one. We'll go straight into the employee list, and I'll give you a quick example of what we capture in this employee list. So let me go ahead and open up this test user. Right. So in this test user, you have your standard information, first, last name, job title, yada, yada. And then here's where the bones of it comes in, right? So we have the who they report to, who's going to approve their commission, what's their branch location, are they working together as a LO team? Because this tool allows you to do team-based commission as well. And then also, we connect our users based off of your LOS login ID or the email addresses that might be on your loan. And And the cherry on top here is, a lot of the times these systems are manually updating. You have to maintain that list. Well, we also do Active Directory synchronization. So we can sync all of this information from your Active Directory. So you no longer have to manually maintain this ever growing list of users and also whoever you might terminate.
So let's just kind of a couple things to back up just to take away the technology speak for a second. So if you're not sure what Active Directory is, just to clear the air, that is if your company is using Microsoft and the Microsoft Office products to basically run the company. So Active Directory is a list of all the users in your company. A lot of the larger companies use Active Directory. If you use something else though, maybe you use Google or maybe I don't know, you use some other type of service and you don't have a list of active people. What I see here though is you can still put in the LOS login ID that we're synchronizing with. And I'm guessing that's just to make sure we can see which people have which loans to pay commissions on. Is that right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So what are the slider things down there? Active, approver, what's all that stuff mean?
Right. So, they're just toggles. So the active is if this is an active employee, the approver is, hey, is this user going to be the one approving someone else's commission? Right. Or are they essentially a branch manager? They have people that they directly, that they have under them. Or, do you want to be able to keep track of their carry forward balances, like their negative balances that you might need to recoup in the future?
Now, this is really, again, this is timely. Today's the 15th of the month. And the 15th of any month, you've always got this period where people, you have some type of an agreement and you want to pay people. And sometimes you even get an advance on files that are quote unquote going to close. Again, I've been lending since 93. I know how this is played. So what the software will do though is it'll actually track that. So when it comes time for reconciliation, all the pluses and minuses net together in one screen. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've had the situation both of being the person getting that advance versus giving the advance. So this is I wish I had this. I'll just say I wish I had this. Okay, what else you got?
All right. So, that takes care of the first tab. And then going forward, we have more just management and HR information you can also store inside of the system. So, right here, you can store their licensing information.
Now,
You
before we
can,
go on here, I do want to just mention in case anybody's watching this and thinking, oh my gosh, does this synchronize with NMLS? I think we talked about this earlier, Naveed, and we've got that on an enhancement request. So it's January 2024. When we get this thing hooked up with NMLS, we'll come back and reshoot this so everybody will know that we have NMLS integration. That's the goal.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the cool thing about this product is we are constantly adapting and taking more enhancement requests, and it's just a expanding product.
Talking about that at the bottom, right? So it's version 4.0.230.331. Pretty long number there. So I'm guessing this is not a new product. How long has actually this been out, E-Compensate? Because I know a ton of people have never heard this before. They think this is something brand new.
Yeah, so look, the overall product has been out for a couple of years, but this new version that we are showing you has been live since January of last year.
2023. Great.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we've got real companies using this for real commissions and real payroll, and it really works. True?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very true. Okay, great. Thanks for the pause on that. What else you got?
Right. So you also have a document storage capability, right? So you know how multiple companies might have three, four system of records where they're keeping their signed comp plans in one area, they're keeping W-2s in one area. Well, here you can store everything under each employee, right? So all their compensation agreements, all their personal documents, you can store right here, and it would be password protected. You can set the password and it's completely secure per
And
employee.
this gets into my conversation or my excuse me, my statement I said earlier. I know of two companies. One of them me happened to me personally, and another happened last year to a client where they were storing their HR sensitive documents, their team members' sensitive documents on a SharePoint site. And there was a misunderstanding as to the level of access to that SharePoint site or that folder. And it led to some pretty bad outcomes. So this is one of those things where you might not think of document management with E-Compensate, but really the product itself is meant to help you from an HR perspective and a compensation perspective. Because if somebody goes to update the compensation plan, right, you should have that in writing first. So that's what I guess that's what you see people do. They get the comp plan executed, they upload it, and then they update the E-Compensate template. Is that a fair workflow?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that aside.
Right. So next we have IT information. So, any resources, any laptops, any equipment you're lending out to people, you can store that information here. We have general management information, hire date, termination date. And then the cool part is, the final compensation date as well, because this commission, this software will also allow you to generate one final commission if you have employees that are offboarding.
Well, that's great. So let's say you terminate somebody for whatever reason, they're no longer with the company on January 2nd, but they're still due to get their final pay at the end of the month. Again, if you're paying twice a month, that's two payrolls away. This you just put in there the January 31st or whatever it is for this month. And then when you go to run payroll, it'll automatically pick it up in there.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Okay.
after that, it'll mark them inactive for you.
Awesome.
Right. And then, we have just general profile information. We have more customizations. We have a personal customization page. You can really use eCompensate for a whole bunch of reasons. I've had people use this software to power their, loan officer websites on their corporate website page. And
Gotcha.
all the loan officer information is coming straight from eCompensate.
Phenomenal. So it's a way to also um, making sure that information on those web pages or even some marketing material is approved data, not something somebody just thought was correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then the last tab here is email subscription, right? So as a admin, as a branch manager, sometimes you really don't care for people approving their compensation. I just want to know when someone disputes. So I can just subscribe to dispute emails and I would only receive dispute emails going forward. So we have an email subscription page as well.
Beautiful. And you're going to show us what those examples of those emails are later on.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
absolutely. And
great.
we're about to get into it here in the next couple of minutes.
Okay.
All right. So now that the employee's over, we'll get into the fun part, the compensation plan.
People want to get paid.
Yeah, yeah. So let me show you exactly how quickly you can create a comp plan, and then you guys can be the judge on, if this is truly like a revolutionary product, which I totally guarantee it is.
I like guarantees. All right, so we're gonna come in here and today we're manager just came down and said, okay, I want to come up with this new comp plan for this new branch that I'm bringing on
All
because
right.
that's
So
again that's a real situation.
yeah. So what we'll do is we're going to create Larry's plan. The plan type, we're going to select either a commission or a bonus. We're going to go ahead and select commission. Calculation date, this field is unique here. So we pull all this data from your LOS system, right? So, some people pay off of closed loans, some people pay off of funded. If you're creating an underwriter plan, you also have underwriting date as well. So you have a whole bunch of different dates you can create compensation plans off of, and it's totally dynamic and flexible. So we're going to go ahead and create close date, plan mode, whether it's a fixed plan or a tiered plan. Just for simplicity's sake, we'll go ahead and select fixed.
And tiered, just so it's clear, tiered means what?
So tiered means, hey, from 1 unit to 5 unit, I get paid this amount. From 6 to 10, I get paid this amount. 11 to 900, I get paid this amount.
Gotcha. Not everybody does tiers, so I appreciate the explanation.
right? So, and then after that, you can pay per loan, you can pay a flat amount, you can pay a flat amount fixed here. There's just so many options. So we're just gonna keep it simple. We're gonna go per loan. We're going to select either personal production or all loans. So, for example, if it's all loans, it would be a branch manager getting a 10 basis point override on all the loans closed in his branch. But for now, we're going to go with personal production. So it's all Larry's personal production loans.
Can I pick in that all loans, Naveed? Can I pick specific people? So maybe it's not a branch, but maybe it's a particular person in somebody else's branch. How granular can we get?
So you can get as nitty gritty as you possibly can imagine. And here, I will show you here in probably the next 15 seconds of what I mean by that.
Okay.
Right. So we'll go ahead and select all loans. We're going to include weekdays and weekend loans, and we also have this bottom row here, which has some very cool features. So you can actually cap the maximum amount per loan as well. So we're going to put $8,000 per loan. So on your compensation plan, the max amount you can get is $8,000 per loan. And then you also have two cool little check boxes here. So we also do retroactive calculations, right? So for bonuses, for example, we can retroactively keep track of, where you are in the month, what we've already paid you, and then what you're also owed.
So a good
Based on what
example
you
of
put.
this is like again, and I'll use underwriting. It's a really good example. So underwriting ends up squeezing a couple extra loans in at the end of the month that they weren't expecting, and it actually adds to their compensation because they hit certain tiers from the beginning of the month. Even though they might have already been paid something, this will actually go back and recalculate what they would have gotten.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's solid. So again, that saves all the mental math you've got to figure out, or even spreadsheets that you've got to go manually take care of.
All
Awesome.
right. And then the last button here is a override. So you can actually, split commissions with LOs. It'll automatically subtract uh, from the LO commission as well. So next is the rule builder. So this is what I meant by you can get as granular as possible. So we selected all loans. We're going to go ahead and add a condition. And Larry is going to get paid off of all of Aaron's loans. So when the employee name is equal to Aaron, that is when Larry's going to get that, 10 basis point override, for example.
Gotcha.
And the cool part about this rule builder, we can pull in as many, many, many fields as you possibly want, right? So you can make comp plans literally out of anything in here.
So like lead source, some examples that are typically out there, right? Or lead source is a good one. If it's an in-house lead or a personal lead, that kind of a thing. Or if it's a bonus, if it's from a particular loan type, all of these things are completely definable within this rule builder.
Yeah, yeah, right. So if a particular funder, if a particular funder is equal to Abigail,
Mhm.
then this comp plan applies. Or if it's a particular loan amount, if it's a particular lead type, you can get so granular with this,
Awesome.
right? And then the final step is the amount. So we're gonna go just with the standard 100, and then click submit, and your comp plan is now done.
And go back to that real quick. So if it was dollar amount because it was showing basis points because that's what was selected. If it was dollar amount, we would just go in there and that last part we would just select the dollar range.
Yes, yes, absolutely correct.
Awesome.
Right. And then, your comp plan's created. Now we get to go into the plan assignment. So we're going to go ahead and click add new row. We're going to go ahead and find Larry's plan one more time. And we're going to go ahead and select a start and end date. So we're going to go January 1st, and then we're going to go ahead and end it in November 30th. Right. So the cool part about this is, you can create one plan, assign it to many employees, or, one employee can have many plans. Because, sometimes you get the promotional plans companies do. It's just so dynamic, so customizable, and I can just can't emphasize enough how customizable this software
Yeah.
really
So you're
is.
running a special, right? I mean, you just brought up something really important. Let's say someone's doing a spring special, and that bonus or that extra compensation ranges from a particular time to an end. You use this and you're covered. There's no stopping the sales team or the operations manager who wants to figure out how to motivate their teams. They don't have to have any pushback from HR because it's a pain in the you know what to create these compensation plans. You just use E-Compensate and it's easy.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, once you assign your plan, the last thing here left to do is just click save, and the plan is created and assigned to the employee.
Way too easy, Naveed. Way too easy.
I know.
So,
Right.
okay, so we set the plan up, we created it, we did a lot of work. I want to get paid. How do I get paid?
Right. So you see this hamburger icon right here. So we have a run compensation option right here. So again, all of this can be automated, but for right now, just to give you an live example, I'm running everything manually.
And I want to, by the way, this isn't like screenshot stuff. This is actually on the E-Compensate website, actually running E-Compensate information. Obviously, all this information is completely fictitious and made up. But the point I'm trying to make here is, as opposed to that PowerPoint slide I started off with, this is the actual live software.
Yes, yes. This
So,
is the live software that many companies are on.
thank you.
Right. So right here, the first we have three steps that you take to generate compensation, start sending out emails. So the first one is fetching the data. You want to make sure you have the most up-to-date data. You select your date range, and then you click fetch. It's going to go ahead and you know, in the back end, start pulling all of your data in and making sure we have the most up-to-date loans.
Okay.
Once that is done, you start going ahead and generating your payrolls, right? So if you do twice a month, you do first through 15th, or if you do once a month payroll, you go ahead and select the entirety of the month. And then you click run, and then your payroll generates, right? So you have an entirety of options here. So you can generate it by branch, by team, by employee. So let's say if you have a certain case where a particular employee didn't have the correct payroll generate, you know, they had updates, they changed their loan to be further out, you know, they pushed the closing date. You can go ahead and click employee and then generate Xavier's, for example, uh, December commission just by himself.
Just rerun it, right? Because that happens, right? You get situations where you thought the loan closed, the LOS had it closed. Turns out it didn't close. Turns out it got pushed. Something happened at the table or just before the table, and now it moved from December into January. So now you have to rerun December's in this example.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. And then, you know, before I get into the final part, let me show you how we actually automate this entirety.
Yeah,
This
because what you're doing there is you were doing manual, right? And so larger companies, manual's okay, but how do we make the software work for us?
right. So in the settings, we have a nifty little tool here called the task scheduler. So here you can schedule almost any task in the system, right? So I can automatically fetch my data, and I can have the task frequency set to monthly, daily, weekly, and then I can even go as granular as, hey, fetch the data starting this time, this day, this month, or I can even set it differently per month, you know, based off of payroll cycles.
And that's just to fetch the data. So again, I know we keep talking about LOS, but this data could be coming from anywhere.
Yes, yes.
So that's okay.
And then you can do running your compensation. You can do sending out the emails to your branch managers and employees. You can automate the system entirely, right? And you can have the system as hands off as you potentially want, right? So the only time you would ever actually have to go in is to handle disputes.
Gotcha. Phenomenal. Yeah, and this is the biggest thing where collecting the data, processing the data, doing it in time. God forbid someone's got a vacation. God forbid some system is down or needs to be updated. You've got all this stuff running automatically through the task scheduler, and it just gets done. And kind of what like this information that we're seeing here on this dashboard, this can automatically be updated again. For those that want to do it daily, they could do it daily.
Oh yeah,
Terrific.
100%. Right.
What do you want to share next?
So now we'll show you how, other people receive their compensation and how the reporting system here works.
Gotcha.
So under the approved compensation, we have this pay period, we have branch, we have approvers. So we're going to go ahead and select our pay period right here. We'll just stick with January, and then in here are going to be all of your approvers. So anyone that have people under them and they are approving compensation for, they'll all be listed here. So we're just going to go ahead and select the first one, and we're going to go ahead and generate their commissions, right? So we're going to go ahead and click preview compensation.
So what's
And
happening now is who would be doing this? Like, who are you when you're doing this? This is the HR person, or who are you?
so it can either be the approver, aka a branch manager, or a HR admin, whoever's in charge of the system.
Gotcha. So, okay, so that's really good. So as a branch manager, I can come in here and I don't need to go to anyone else to figure out what is my potential branch commission that I've got to deal with. I can actually just go and e-compensate as a branch manager and see what's going on with all my people relative to their commissions.
Yeah, and if everything looks correct, you just click one button and you just send out the emails,
So
and
we,
it's
so
going to go
we just
ahead
again
and send those
context
through the
here.
email.
I'm Vicky. I came in. I ran the payroll, and I want to send out Kathy and Robin's commissions for their approval because in this case, it looks like Deidre already approved it. Is that what that means? That check
Yeah,
mark and
yeah,
that
yeah.
thumbs up?
Yes. So we log everything in the system. So every action, your potential employees take is logged into the system, whether they approve, whether they dispute, and I'll show you that entire workflow here.
Rock.
So we went ahead and sent the emails. So let me go ahead and pull up my email right now, and I'll show you exactly how they come up.
Okay.
So right here, you're going to get a congratulations on another successful month. And at the bottom, you're going to get your view compensation.
And this
So,
email here is customizable.
yes, this email template is completely customizable. And if I open this is going to be a detailed compensation report for Kathy. So I could see like a transaction level details of all the loans that are in my system and what I'm getting paid off of those reports.
Nice.
Right. So if everything looks good, we click the view compensation button, and then you get a congratulations. I can either accept or I can request review. We're going to go ahead and click accept, and there's nothing further I need to do.
No.
And then,
What happens? So what happens if you go back and I have a problem? I would click request review. Is that right?
yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Do I have to do that within a certain period of time? Like what happens if I wait too long to do that?
So, unfortunately, what happens if you wait too long is you're going to get this expired
Ah,
notification.
I saw this. Truthfully, like this is fun stuff to me, but can you set this link to expire for a certain period of time, or how long is it how long are those links good for?
So by default, it is 48 hours, but after that, you're going to get the expired link, and then your branch manager or HR admin would either have to resend it to you, or based off of company policy, that depends company per company.
And I do want to speak to this is actually a security issue. I know it's made to look cute, which it definitely does. It succeeds there. But this is a security policy to making sure that links do expire, which is again something that is a problem with other alternatives. Is sometimes those links don't expire, which means you leave data open to the internet forever, which is never a good idea. So kudos for getting this expired and making it cute.
Oh yeah, we thought we'd have some fun with it.
Okay, so well, you proved it, and then how do I, as Vicky, how do I know what's going on?
Right, so we're going to go ahead and reload this page. We're going to go ahead and select our payroll, go back to Vicky, and you can see
Boom.
that Kathy approved her commission. And the more fun part about this is I can actually see when Robin actually opened her email as well. And I just know, hey, Robin just did not answer. She opened the email, she looked at her commission, but no response has been recorded yet.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, it's important too because when you're sending out a bunch of emails, especially if your branch is larger, you want to know that they got the email. So, if Robin saw the email and then they went in and were just didn't make a decision yet, it's easy enough just to hop on a quick mode of communication and say, "Hey, Robin, what's the status of your review of the commission?" That's great. That's very insightful.
Right. And, if there unfortunately is a dispute, I can simply just come into the system, click the edit button, and I can make my adjustments on the fly.
Terrific. And then recalculate and then resend.
You can recalculate or resend or take care of it internally, or, after the one-time adjustment, you can go straight to payroll.
Okay.
So, it really depends case by case.
Terrific. All right, so let's pretend I got all the commissions done. Everybody's approved it. Now what?
Right? We come into the reports tab, and depending on your payroll provider, there's a few options we can do. So if your payroll provider has APIs, we can either do a direct integration where you can just simply click finalize payroll, for example, and automatically just upload it straight to them. Or we can give you a Excel report that is in a compliant format, and all you'd have to do is click download and then upload straight to your payroll provider.
And that's ADP. Are we doing this for any other provider besides ADP right now? That's like
So
it's kind of a format.
yeah, so we have Exponent and we have ADP, and then the rest are on a request by request basis.
Yeah, fair enough. So takeaways, if you're watching this and you're like, oh man, I wish I had that. If you just call and we'll set it up. One of the greatest things about ATI is its flexibility to make solutions. If the endpoint you're trying to get to has a way for us to understand what their format is or what it needs to be, and especially if they've got like open API structure, our team just goes at it and just makes a solution on the spot for you. So that's phenomenal.
Right. And Larry, that's really it. The system's
That's
simple.
it. There's not
Yeah.
more. There's not more complexity. There's not more drama. That's it.
No, the system's very simple. It doesn't even require a user guide, really.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. So first of all, Naveed, thank you very much for sharing this. And of course, we'll make sure your contact info is in there to make sure people can set up a demo and see how this works. I know the alternatives out there. I know how much things cost, and the fact that the E-Compensate is extraordinarily affordable for any sized organization. I think if somebody's, I don't know if you can have an example, Naveed, but I would imagine that if either A, you're spending more than a few hours at the HR level, forget about the people actually believing what you're sending them or trying to calculate their own commissions. If I'm a loan officer, if I want to come in here and I want to check how am I doing for this month, I can do that any time of day, right? I just come in and just say, hey, how am I doing for this month? It's the 15th. I want to see what I've already paid or what I'm already due to be paid, I should say. I just come in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
all customized security, so you only have access to what you can see. So as a loan officer, you definitely could come in and just check how you're looking.
Yeah. And I again, I've in mortgage banking for on the retail side for 20 years, where I was the guy trying to figure out how many more deals that I need to get closed to get the money paid that I wanted to this month. Figuring out my commissions was sometimes hard, especially if you're on a tiered scale. On the flip side, when I ran a branch, understanding what my overall responsibilities are financially to my team and understanding what my revenues are and who I made which promises for which compensation based upon their deal, it's enough to make an abacus melt. So the software can support that. Of course, HR side, forget about the fact that you can come in here and build your own plans and add your own people and make sure it's synchronized if you're using Active Directory automatically. And then, lastly, if you've got any LOS, any of the major LOSs I named, like Encompass or Byte or Meridian Link, it's already baked in. But because of the back end of this software, literally any data source that contains information that you need to get in here, as long as we can get to it through the internet and we can understand how to get that information out, and the software allows us to get it out, um, we get it out and put it in so you can do your payroll and get back to doing more important things, like running your business. Anything? I'll end with a big nugget, but Naveed, but you've implemented this, you've done this successfully for clients. After they've been using this for a little bit, does anybody regret it? Does anybody be like, man, this was so much easier before E-Compensate?
No, no, I've had zero cases of regret, and the funny story here is I've actually had people that have saved money by going on this software because they've been overpaying.
Oh, they've been overpaying. Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that. So they actually, oh wow. So obviously it's going to be hard to go back and recapture some of that money, but they realize like, oh snap, we've been paying Larry too much based upon the compensation that he was supposed to be getting paid.
Yeah, because manual entries have a bigger chance of error.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember if that's ever happened. I'm sure it has. And I'm sure I've sat there going, hey, thanks, company. I'm sure I never said, hey, by the way, you overpaid me by $1,000. Do you mind if I give it back to you? Like that's probably not going to happen. So big thing I want to say on here is again, implementation time is usually 8 to 10 weeks. Is it less than that, Naveed? Depends on how quickly the client can get the data together, right?
Yes, yes. So really our implementation times, slightly vary because we'll get the initial setup, all your data, all your comp plans created for you, in generally under 3 to 4 weeks. But the cool part about ATI is that we'll actually compare two of your past payrolls and also be there with you for two of your future payrolls, and then we let you go and run wild with the system.
Is that how you found out that a client actually overpaid because you went back two payrolls and you're like, hey, by the way, you overpaid that?
Yeah, yeah. And then, the two future payrolls, they were doing side by side comparisons, and it was really hard to argue with the system on which method was right.
Wow, that's wild. And that's awesome. So after all this is done, get it implemented, we still go back in time to payroll periods, making sure that things are compared and how's it look, and then we fast forward two payrolls. And after that, obviously, as clients need us to help them, especially if we're helping manage their virtual machines to run this, we're obviously always available and that kind of a thing. So, everybody watching this, if you're not already convinced, at least just call for a demo. I guarantee it's a fraction of whatever you're paying today, whether you're paying a third-party source for an alternative software like this, or if you're just doing manual entry, God help you, or if you're doing Excel sheets and you're emailing those out across your entire organization. I know lots of folks that run very large branch organizations that need to get onto this, and I hope this has been really helpful. Naveed, thank you for your time today, and
Yeah, no
I look
problem.
forward to seeing this product to continue to improve.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course, you guys have a great day, and let us know what we can do.